Hello and welcome to another DC Corner on November 2nd, 2014. This is Ed Garrett from tmstash.com welcoming you. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the comics that came out on Halloween week from DC and look ahead to the next new comic book day, Wednesday, November 5th. Let's start with my favorite DC book of the week, Justice League United's annual, and the reason for that is the return of the Legion of Superheroes. Now, you see me grinning like a little kid. The reason here is that I've been a Legion fan since the very beginning. I was buying 12-cent comic books back when I was a little kid. There were no comic shops. I'd go to the local drugstore and pick up Adventure Comics, which back then carried the exploits of the Legion of Superheroes. And to see them come back again is wonderful for this old fan. Now, this is not the Legion that was here earlier in the New 52. That was proven not to be from the main Earth Zero continuity for the New 52. It looks to be more of a classic Legion, and that's very cool. Jeff Lemire does a great job with the story overall. The artwork is Neil Edwards, Jay Leiston, and Jeremy Cox. They do a great job with this. I loved the throwdown between Mon-El and Martian Manhunter, and yes, there is a little bit of that. Heroes meet and they fight before they get along, only we haven't seen them get along yet. There is something I'm going to have to spoil here because it's my one complaint of the story, so when you see me wave again, you can come back. The spoiler is there's a bit of a pseudo women in refrigerators moment here. Mon-El comes back to our timeline believing Night Girl has been killed by this creature Infinitus, which grows from Ultra the multi-alien, and he's come back to commit murder in return to keep this from happening in the first place. Now, we find out later that she wasn't killed. She actually is alive and recovering, but that was still a little bit of a little uncomfortable moment to motivate Mon-El by making some sort of a victim out of Night Girl. Okay, you can come back now. Other than that one thing, though, this was a great, great issue, and it's leading into a whole story arc for Justice League United called the Infinitus Saga, and I'm really looking forward to see what comes out of this next. Some of the other favorite books of the week, and I'm not going to hit every DC book, but I'm going to give you about three more. Batman Eternal number 30. The Spectre finally is unleashed, and he sort of takes care of at least part of the business going on in Batman Eternal. But as a result, and we'll do a little spoiler wave again here, so come back in a moment, this is where Arkham Asylum blows up, and it leads into the Arkham Manor storyline. We also see Alfred and Bane trapped near each other in the rubble, and that's got teasers coming for upcoming issues where the two of them, Alfred Pennyworth and Bane, teamed up together. Okay, come back. We do find more interesting things for Batwing, several levels below the asylum, and an appearance from Joker's daughter talking to Batman himself, and that's going to be real interesting as we go forward without spoiling too much there. Earth 2 World's End. Man, I feel like I'm giving all sorts of spoiler waves today, but let's do that again. In case you don't want to see anything more, we'll come back. Fury is finally freed of Bedlam's influence, but that means she now knows what happened to her mother, and she knows what she's done since. That's really terrible. And we find out that Jimmy Olsen may be the key to everything, and he somehow has a connection to Mother Box, which is pretty interesting here. Okay, come back. There are a lot more tasty items packed into this issue, a lot of side things that are really good. And if you're a fan of the Wonders like I am and have been following Earth 2, you will love this series. I will admit, it would be hard to catch up if you're not already following Earth 2. This really depends on you understanding a lot of their continuity. It's not an easy jumping on point. But if you've been following the Wonders, you'll love this series. Future's End. Someone's trying to get Firestorm back together, and we find out who that someone is in this issue. And meanwhile, Madison Payne is in a world of danger at the very lab where Jason Rush used to work before he was just recently fired. We see more from Batman Beyond, and Brother Eye is revealing more to 50 Sue than she may be ready to learn about herself. This is still a very good series, and I'm having a great time. Now, I'm going to go to one last issue here. This is Wonder Woman 35. And I may be a bit of a heretic here because Brian Azzarello and Cliff Chiang have received huge kudos from fans and critics alike on this series. Their run ends with this issue. And even though they've done a good job, this isn't my favorite depiction of Wonder Woman. My favorite still is the Superman Wonder Woman run that Charles Soule has just recently completed. Still, Azzarello and Chiang do their best to go out with a bang. They pull a double twist, though, on this tale, and I won't reveal what that double twist is, but it may leave some readers scratching their heads, particularly with the second twist, which is a twist upon a twist, and you'll have to read to see what I'm talking about. I almost wish they'd left that second twist out, though, because they did have some real important things that they were adding to the mythos of Wonder Woman in their series, and we'll see what happens to the whole series, which probably will take a different tone beginning with issue 36. That's next month. As for next week, well, we're going to have a whole lot coming out here. Action 36 is out, Batman Eternal 31, Detective 36, which ends this guest shot for a creative team with that mystery on the plane where a plane load of people arrived already dead at Gotham Airport. Earth 228 comes out. Earth 2 World's End number 5 comes out, features N27. Gotham Academy, the second issue, comes out. That's already getting a lot of well-deserved praise. Grayson number 4, and I'm still struggling with that being Dick Grayson, but it's a good spy thriller if you like spy thrillers. Green Arrow 36, Green Lantern 36, which continues the Godhead storyline. Lobo number 2 comes out. Superman Unchained with Jim Lee's art. I love this book, and I think this is the last issue of the series, which will be pretty sad, but I really have loved this. And Swamp Thing 36, with Charles Soule still on it. Also, Flash Season 0, which is being released every other week digitally and then compiled on a monthly basis into print. The second issue of that comes out. It comes from the same writers who do the Flash TV series, and the artwork is from Phil Hester. It's really good. You ought to check it out. It's obviously a very different tone than the regular comic. Slightly different tone from the actual series, but similar enough, and it's all set between episode 1 and 2 of the TV series. And if you read the storyline, you'll understand why that's important that they're doing it that way. Later tonight, we're going to have our full Comics Week in review with the whole review squad together. You'll get to hear more about DC and Marvel and all of the indies and what's coming up. And I've got to tell you, this week coming up is a huge week for independent publishers. You'll hear about that on that episode. So please be sure to check with us later. We'll be streaming that one live on Google Hangouts, and then later we'll have it available on our YouTube channel. This will be on our YouTube channel. It's probably where you're watching it if you're not clicking to it directly from our site before that comes out. Be sure to join us again next week, and we'll catch you then. Thanks.